All right, all right. Who that nation? Welcome to the WDN Chatline Podcast. It's the host CB, and I'm here with my co-host, the MOD. MOD, salute, fam. How you doing?
What's good, fam? What's happening?
Man, I'm chilling, fam. Excited to get back on tonight. Give the Who That Nation another fantastic show.
Mm-hmm. Let's make it happen.
So Who That Nation,
Me.
I hope you guys have been enjoying your off season, getting your money right. So when this season kick off, we outside. We outside repping our Saints. So continue to do that. We doing it our way. And especially today's show, the Saints has been having OTAs and then they just wrapped up mini camp today. So far as like the highlights and stuff, pass is not on yet, but it is some news that came out of from the practices and some signings that we've made. So we're gonna chirp on that, and if we got time, we'll open up the phone lines. Um, won't be too much of a long show today, but like I said, if we got time, we'll take a call or two, just get your thoughts and opinions. Do want to talk about the draft picks. A few guys sitting around right now. Is that concerning? We'll discuss. But let's just go ahead and go to the comment section. Go ahead and shout out, our family that's tuning in. See, we got Jerry in the building. Jerry, was good, fam? Then we got Hurricane Mike in the building. Hurricane Mike, what's good? And you guys know as the show goes on, as you tune in, we gonna post your comment. And just give us questions throughout the show where we can answer.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just go ahead and get started, MOD. We're just gonna bring up the most exciting news. To me, and I'm pretty sure to you, we brought back Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan, on a 1 year deal. I believe this is gonna be his final season, unless he have another like 10 and a half sack year or something like that. If he have a season like that, I believe he gonna try to thug it out another year. But what's your thoughts on Cam J returning to New Orleans?
Fabulous. You understand? It's interesting you say that, man, because the kind of like what I gathered from his press conference, he sounded as if this is his last year. You know, at least that's the sentiments of what I got in the press conference and all that. And he say that he gonna try, give it a run, see where we can go at, and I think that is good, man. That it's a transition. There's gonna be a transition of like, leadership and all that to whoever is the next great leader on that side of the ball, even hell on the football team, you and I think that the defensive ends, the edge rushers and stuff, really the defensive line, the whole defense, really, is going to benefit for having him in the locker room, you know. And the way that it went down, I think it may be his last year because, like, his family was like, if it was almost like, Daddy, if this your last year, let's just go ahead on and finish there, because what people don't realize, man, that man been here long enough. All his children was born in New Orleans, you know. So he really has an emotional stake in the city, you know, whether people realize that or not. His son even got up there and say, I told my daddy, let's go back. I was born in New Orleans. I've been living here for over a decade and all that stuff. But I think that this may be his last year, and I think he gonna give it all he got, man. Whatever information that he can pass along to the team will be valuable. The fact that he is back and the team like him, and obviously management like him because it don't seem like they haggled around with him, too much for a contract. Unlike some people, who I promised not to say anything about until we knew something about that man. But you know, that's good to see, man. And I'm glad that he is back. He certainly means a lot to the Saints. He means a lot to the Saints fans. He's been loyal to us. And his loyalty is not only that he's been loyal. Cam Jordan has been a heck of a player for us. For the past 16 years. You know what I'm saying? Never took a day off. I think Cam only missed maybe 1 or 2 games, man, his whole career.
Yeah,
You
COVID.
know what I'm saying? And that's something that's a whole lot to say there, man. And that he didn't went out there and got some kind of little injuries here and injuries there. He played through some injuries, man. He did. You know. So yeah, that's good, man. That's good for the Saints team. I think that's good for the team, and I think that's good for the fan base. I'm glad he did come back, and I wish that they would let the other dude back too. You know what I'm talking about. Stop playing around, Mickey. Y'all stop playing around. But go ahead though, CV.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, he pretty much summed it up. I mean, Cam Jordan is not a stranger to us, who that nation. We know what he's provided to us since he came in 2010. Um,
Mm,
stellar for the franchise and the city. The city even named he got a Cam Jordan Day in New Orleans, so it only makes sense to end your career here. Um, like I said, I'm not sure how the numbers was looking contract or whatever, but I'm sure his heart was in New Orleans, and I'm pretty sure he had some other offers on the table. But um, yeah, when they come down to it, like he started a family in New Orleans, and that goes a long way. When you got a family, you start a family in a place, and you're watching your kids go through the city and stuff like that. So certain situations, especially like this one, it goes a little bit deeper than football. That's
mm.
why the kids was on the mic, and you heard what they said. So salute to Cam, man, and I'm just excited to see a stellar player like him, um, one of the best in franchise history, be able to retire a Saint, because I'm pretty sure he's gonna retire a Saint. But like I said, that's pretty much we know everything about Cam, so really nothing new about the player stuff like that. Can he provide us? And I'm gonna say this right now. Yeah, we brought him back and stuff like that. I'm not expecting Cam Jordan to be our. Um, I'm not expecting. We shouldn't be leaning on Cam Jordan to provide us, sacks. We shouldn't be looking his way to lead the charge. We
Yes.
got Chase Young. Chase Young should be leading the charge. And Granderson, he's been complacent.
And Wilson or somebody over there, man.
Yeah.
You know, become the man over there, bro. Because I don't. Let's not expect Cam to get us no 10.5 sacks and stuff again
No.
this season. If Cam can get us 5 or 6 sacks, I think that would be gravy. You know what I'm saying? Considering his age, and this, that, and the third. But we shouldn't be that. That shouldn't be somebody that we leaning on. You know, we leaning on Chase Young, and we have to find somebody else to lean on. We know Cam gonna be steady. He gonna stop the run. He gonna provide some pass rush. We know what we got in Cam already, y'all. The man been around for 16 seasons. If you don't know, then you never would know. So, but yeah, man, that's good, man. That was good news. I thought that was good news to hear. You know, I see they still bringing in people and all that. You know, I see that's what they doing too. I don't know if you noticed that, CB.
Oh yeah, and I forgot they brought in. This was a couple weeks ago. They brought in the Falcons kicker. I don't know if he. I hadn't seen that he got released, but they tried him out. So I don't know if he gonna
He
be
must
coming
have got
into training
released
camp.
because then they had another kicker in that they cut, and then they
Yeah,
brought another kicker in.
yeah,
So I guess they telling old Charlie, right? Look, bro, we gonna make sure you sharp because we're gonna give you all the competition in the world.
right.
Even though we sign you and all that, you're not gonna just walk into this position, you know, which I find nothing wrong with. I just hope that they would do a whole lot of that at right guard. But that's another thing, though. That's another thing. That's another topic.
All right, so we can go ahead and start on the offensive side. I mean, we're talking offense. We can mention our rookie.
Bro,
But
I looked at, man, and it was just so disappointing. There's various people who I know are legit Saints media, and I listened to some of them this week, and all of them are saying that Caesar is going to be the dude, unless something else happens, or whatever. Or I guess if somebody go out there and take it from him or something or whatever, which I've been hoping for. But they say that the coaching staff is supposedly, cool with him. And then why do I keep hearing him say this on a consistent basis? How good he was in the passing game, but he wasn't a good run blocker. What did they see that I didn't see? I'm hearing replicable Saints media people saying this about him, talking about he wasn't that bad in pass protection. Man, I seen the back of that man's jersey often. You know,
yeah,
I don't know what they're talking about. I have no idea. You know, but that's crazy. That's real
we'll
crazy.
see.
Yeah, we're gonna see, man, because like I don't know, you know, I don't know what they talking about, man. You understand? I mean, that dude was awful in pass protection. He was awful in run blocking. He was just straight awful, man. I can't tell you how many times we used to see the back of that man's jersey. That means that he got beaten, and he was getting beaten all damn season. It wasn't no part of the season where it seemed like he held his own, you know. And even in the games that we won, we still saw some BS coming from that dude. So like, it is what it is. That's the only. If I want to say legitimately, man, I'm talking throughout the whole team. That's the only part of the team that really, really worries me. Right there. If I had to, if I had a choice, CB, of everything, I mean everything that we looked at, that's what really worries me. I was worried about the star position until they put Jonas in there. I think I can trust Jonas. Okay, I think I can trust him, and it's not
Yeah,
like he never played that before. And I like what we saw in him, last season, and I like what I like the reasoning behind them doing it. You know what I'm saying? But that right there, that right guard, bro, that bothers me more than everything. More than everything, you know. Because like we could very well say McCoy don't get injured. Say everybody else don't get injured. Let's just say the offensive line remain healthy throughout the whole season. I'm still worried about him. You understand what I'm saying? Because like, you know, unless and I do notice this, right? I'm not gonna look this over either, right? It seemed like when McCoy there, everybody looks good. You know, maybe it's the you know because he's the center and he knows the checks and all that and what to look for and he gets people prepared and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we banking and betting on right now. And we also banking and betting on Caesar perhaps looking at the film, looking where he's weak at, and improving himself throughout the off season.
Facts.
Because like if we want to be for real, CB, you know, Fuaga didn't have that hell of a good year last year. Was it because he was playing near Caesar? But I have more faith in Fuaga getting his head out of his ass than I have in Caesar. You know, because I'm looking at it. Okay, we know that he played right tackle in college, and then when he first came to us, he played left tackle, and then he had to move, back to right tackle. I'm just looking at it as maybe that's it. It was too much information for him at one time. He is used to playing right tackle, but he wasn't used to playing right tackle at this level. You know, because he didn't play bad as a rookie when he had to play left tackle. He didn't play bad.
Right.
So like so I would give him more of a you know I would give him a little bit more leadway than what I would give Caesar. Because I can only remember Caesar looking good maybe one season, and that was that season when he was playing and his contract was up. And it's funny how people play when their contracts and stuff is up. You know how they get so damn good, and then you get the money, and then you get back lousy and stuff again. You know, and I was looking at too, right? Like, what I'm hearing too is that the rookie that we drafted is running third string now, right now, and I know it's early, and that Dylan Radance is the backup behind Caesar right now. So,
I don't like that. I mean, pass ain't on yet, but I don't like that with Randy.
hmm
But
so
we see. We're gonna see. I do want to talk. I do want to chirp about. Let's chirp about these rookies. I know it. And once again, it's early. It's early, but I mean, just being honest, it's football. Injuries have occurred during this time, and it has, messed people up going forward. I just want to point out three rookies. Really, our top picks: Tyson, Delp, and Kristen Milliner. Those three was held out, over the weekend with the OTAs. They just got back. Well, Jordan Tyson is still he's still limited. Let's just start with Jordan Tyson. He really ain't had he ain't had the leash off of him yet. So is this something to start getting concerned about? Do you think this will link over into training camp? And if it does, should we be concerned?
if it lingers over into training camp, that's when I would be concerned. I think they're just being cautious right now. I think it's looking a bit overly cautious. But I guess they want to be overly cautious, considering his injury history. You know what I'm saying? I know what Jordan Tyson has said out of his mouth. He has said that he's good to go. You know, that's what came out of his mouth. And I think that is more or less the Saints and the training staff that's holding him out, from these little, little team drills and all that stuff. But they want him prepared, for camp when camp and stuff comes up. You know, as far as Miller is concerned, I think he was dealing with some type of little injury or something, when he left school and all that. Now this Delp thing, now that's something that kind of like I think recently happened. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think that they're not saying it's all doom and gloom and stuff with that because I don't even know what's injured with him. All I know is that he's dealing with an injury. I don't even know what specific injury he's dealing with. But I think most of it is more out of caution than anything serious right now. You know. Now, if this, like I say, if it lingers up in, when training camp comes along and they start missing more and more time and all that kind of stuff, CB, then that's when I'm gonna become worried, because if you're not in training camp and you're not getting those reps, then how good you're going to be, to the football team, especially considering that you're a rookie. So,
Facts. One name I wanna mention. I mean, we can talk about it. Now, I'm gonna just say this. I'm not gonna talk about the AK situation until training camp start. Yeah, he showed up mini camp. They
mhm,
still I don't know why the question marks is concerning, but I ain't gonna get into that. I just want to get in this running back room.
mhm,
So surprising name is there at the practices, and they saying he looking solid, and that's Kendre Miller.
mhm.
Do Kendre Miller has a shot of making this team, or what is they plans? Do they have a plan for Kendre Miller?
Bro, let me tell you something.
Now, just before you
Every
out,
time when you think that you counted him out, he's back in.
yeah,
So I don't know what to make of this dude, man, right now. I'm just gonna reserve whatever, when it comes to him. But if I'm the GM, if I'm Mickey Loomis, you know, of course I would let him. I would think that it would be unfair of me not to give him a shot after he didn't, went through the surgery, went through the recovery and all that. But he would have to impress the hell out of me. You know, I mean, impress the hell out of me. You know, or he's looking, or I'm going to cut him because, like, you still even, and then that's the messed up part about it, CB. He's impressed before in camp, and then go out there and get injured, and he's gone for the rest of the season. You know, he got that same stuff that Eric McCoy got that we better hope that he got rid of. You know, he get injured, he missed the whole season. You know, so man, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to say, bro. You know what I'm saying? I really really don't know what to say because this is something that we have heard virtually since he been a Saint. How good he look in camp and this and all that, and then he come out because I thought he looked good last season, despite our record. I thought he looked strong and powerful. He was the only running back that we had, that was getting yards after contact. You know, he almost looked like what we had been looking for, for the last few years. And then he get injured, and then it was real weird how he got injured. You know, it was a play, and it looked like a routine play. And then next thing you know, they saying that he's gonna miss the rest of the game. And then next thing you know, they saying that it's a torn ACL. He's gonna miss the rest of the season. And I remember what game it was. It was the damn Bears when we played against the Bears. He got injured in the Chicago Bears game. It's a damn shame, bro. I don't. To be honest with you, CB, I don't quite know how to even answer that question you asked me.
I
Consider
agree. It's tough.
the way this dude, you know, we thinking that, oh man, we got this dude, he's good, he healthy now, he about to catch wreck, and then boom, he's injured. Man, I'm not gonna consider this dude serious, man. I remember I scaled back last season, right? I said, okay, if he play at least 7 to 8 games or whatever, I'll be like happy and stuff, right? Nah, I'm to the point where if your ass can't play at least 10 games, you understand? They need to think about getting your ass up out of here, bro. And sorry, man. I know that it ain't your fault, man. It's your body. You know what I'm saying? You can't. Sometimes you can't help. You get injuries and all that, man. But that's been like your thing now. So what does a football team do? Just keep. I just like you got a car and this car breaks down on you all the time. You got to spend money and fix that car, and then it's going to break down on you again. You know, that's just your money. You're just wasting your money when it comes down to it after that. So I don't know what to say about Kendra, bro. Hey, somebody in the chat, what y'all say, bro? What y'all say? I want to hear what y'all have to say about it, Mike. You understand, Junior, the rest of y'all. What y'all think about it? Now,
I'm gonna say that with Da was a fan of him. Obviously, Da was the one that got him in here. He was a fan, and then I mean, it's seeming like Kellen is a fan too. But I don't. I mean, at this point, man, I think just the injuries just done been too much. Thus far. Maybe they trying to hang on to see if he finally gonna get over the injury bug hump because they see what he can bring. But it's gonna be interesting to see.
well, you can see, to be honest with you, you can see what makes them feel how they feel about him. You can see that, man, because when he's out playing, you know, he's a wonderful display of speed and power. You know, you just hope that he would, put it all together, in one season. You know what I'm saying? But he never did. So you can see why coaches would be enamored by him. I'm not going to say that I don't see that because what the little bit that we have saw of him, it has been, I would say it has been good. It ain't been, I wouldn't say it has been very good, and it certainly hasn't been great, but it's been good. So
Agreed. Okay, so I'm gonna get on Shuck. I think we done hit around pieces on offense. Like I said, it's just practice right now. I'm just glad everybody pretty much made it out of mini count, particularly healthy, not dealing with a severe injury. So that's great news to hear. I just want to chirp on Shuck right quick. I seen that Chuck is starting to work with Breeze. I don't know if he just started doing that or if he's been doing that, but it just got out, that he's been working with Breeze. So with Tyler Shuck, I'm not gonna hop on the bandwagon too fast. I just know what he's put out thus far. I've definitely seen the potential. The potential has been shown to us. Do you think he can continue this? And what's your thoughts on him working with Breeze? I just say with the Breeze part, it shows that he's still hungry. Like he's willing to learn and he's willing to the criticism and get his accuracy right. When I think when Drew Brees' name come up, accuracy. That's basically his nickname, accuracy. So Breeze is gonna pour out everything into everything he can into Shook, to try to make sure he succeeds. So what's your takeaway on that move?
Well, that can only be good, you know.
Yeah.
Um, Let me say this about Tyler Shook, right? That we must, admit to. Ever since that dude was drafted by the Saints, he been doing the right stuff. He been saying and doing all the right stuff. You know, you gotta be rewarded, man. The same way you get penalized for doing bad stuff. You know, you have to get rewarded for doing good stuff too. You know, and I can see him, his rewards coming because he's putting in the necessary work. You know, I heard too that he had been out there, throwing the ball around with with Billy and and Chris Olave as well. You know that he had been doing that kind of stuff. He never left the city. They say he been in the building every day. He said he's trying to master, Kellen Moore's offense. You know, I'm hearing that all his teammates love him. You know, they love him, they respect him, and they noticing and paying attention to the work that he's putting in. He's getting love from the city. You know, only thing he have to do now, man, is just go out there and perform. The team made a conscious effort to get him weapons, and they got him weapons everywhere on the side of the ball. So they put him. They have set him up for success, and so far it looks like he's not taking that for granted. He's trying to put in all the work and all the extra work that he needs to put in to also be successful. So that's looking good. I'm hearing positive things, lots of positive things about him. I haven't heard anything negative about Tyler Shook, this off season. And we should hope and pray that those things work out you know for us, that those things work out in our favor because the man is doing all the right stuff. And if it does not work out for us, I'm not going to hold that against him either, because I still will believe that he did everything right to prepare himself for the season. you know so that's a good thing, man. Breeze can only help him, most so than what he can do with the mechanics, the physical mechanics. I hope that he can help him where he can understand the game mentally better. That's the key. Those are the attributes that turn you from being just a good quarterback to an elite quarterback. Those are the kind of things. So that could be none but positive for us, man. Keep spitting wisdom on it, man, Drew. You understand? That show you showing just how much you love the Saints, bro. You know, let's do it.
Facts. Shout out to Shuck, man. You know, we behind them. We behind them. I'm not putting no expectation on them. Um, all I'm gonna just say, I seen the potential. So, you know, I'm feeling confident that he's gonna press through, but I'm not gonna, you know, put no elite category QB play. I'm not doing that. You know, and I don't think we need to do that. Who that nation? Not just yet. Um,
No, we don't.
he's
We
only
know.
played 8 games. Yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
especially since we done seen him play. Yeah, Tyler Shook played fabulous and stuff, for us, right? However, right, we know what an elite quarterback looks like. So we're gonna pump our brakes on that. You know, now if we never had an elite quarterback play for us before, then maybe we would be a little bit giddy and excited, if we had never seen that before. But we've seen that before, and we know that that takes work.
Facts. And I also want to point out before we go to the other side, just a takeaway from today's practice. What stood out on offense was Bryce Lance. He had the second most reps in today's practice, and he also had 2 touchdowns in the drills they run. Probably 707. I don't think I don't think they was running 11-11. But
Mm.
either way, you know, 2 touchdowns. Once again, you know, t-shirt and helmets on. But you know, rookie is making, you know, making plays. That's always good to hear, regardless if you in t-shirts or a full pass.
Mm-hmm.
So
That,
do
that,
you
that
think
shows
Bryce
you-
Lance can have a you think he can have a good role in this offense this season?
sure you can. You understand? Everybody, man, um, there's a plethora of talent on this team now. You know, on the offensive side of the ball, let's be specific. There's a plethora of talent. And with a coach like Kellen Moore, offensive mind like him, I'm pretty sure that he can utilize Lance in a way that can be beneficial for the football team. So yes, and keep in mind, I feel like that about everybody that's on the football team. I think that Kellen Moore, with his innovative and dare I say, up to date, latest, um, the way he know the game, the way the game is as of right now, and not how it was back 20, 30 years ago. I think he can utilize any player on our team, you know, given the right circumstances.
Agreed.
So yeah, you know, and that dude Oscar Delp need to get well soon. I think that's a really really important part of what Kelly Moore wants to do. And I told you that before on CV.
Facts. Okay, so far as on the defensive side, I personally really hadn't heard too much coming out of the camp. Basically, we know about Cam coming back. Um, pretty much. I mean, unless you've been hearing anything differently, the
Yeah, I
only
heard.
important thing is just
I
the
did
slot.
hear that Kool Aid McKinstry is out there looking like he wants to be a number one corner right now. They say the ball is just not going. They're not throwing it his way. That's what I've been hearing. Okay. I've also been hearing that Kool-Aid McKinstry has also stepped up like he want to be a leader on this football team too. You know, they say he's very vocal, and they say it's been noticeably vocal and noticeably trying to provide a leadership role. It must be something about that number one jersey, that make that, that really emboldens people and giving them confidence. Because remember, that was the same jersey that Alante had, not at Kool-Aid McKinstry. And I say that's good, because if you want to be a leader, leaders can't just be leaders because you talk. Leaders got to also be leaders because you produce on the football field. And if he has that kind of confidence in his abilities and the way he prepared himself for the season, I feel good about that. That's the kind of confidence that I want in my cornerbacks. I want my cornerbacks to think that they are Hercules in some damn body. I want them to exude with confidence. So even if they do get beat, that they can quickly forget about that and go line up and get ready for the next play. That is a position that I always welcome that kind of confidence in that particular position. I want them dudes to be cocky. I'm just being honest. You understand? Cocky. And the fact that he's looked like he's moving into that kind of a position where there ain't nothing happening on my side, it ain't gonna happen like that. I'm feeling that. As long as he didn't put in the work and all that kind of stuff. I figure that he must be confident in his preparation and where he feels that he's at right now in his football career. And that kind of stuff can be, that kind of stuff can be contagious. You know, that confidence can help propel everybody in the defensive backfield. You know, so yeah, let's go with it. Let's do it. You know, the way that Sankir is talking, he's talking like he got confidence in the position that he's playing out, a star role. The Saints coaching staff feel like they got confidence because that gives them the ability to put out their best defensive backs on the football team at one time. So yeah, you know, let's do it.
Facts. One person I do want to mention, since we're about to go into training camp, just a few. I just mentioned a few players that I need them to get their heads together going into training camp. During this break, they need to get their chance. I mean, they need to get their uh, heads locked in and ready to go. So defensively, I'm gonna start with Carl Granderson. Carl Granderson. Kool Aid. Kool Aid. This year, yeah, he got to do this. But I'm saying Granderson is on a second year contract. So
Mhm.
he done played into another contract. Like what we doing, Granderson? If we being complacent, you gonna step up with like what is we doing? So they need to figure that out with Carl Granderson. What is his role gonna be? Does he really fit the 3-4 defense? And I'm not saying the dude been playing like garbage. He ain't been playing like garbage, but he ain't been playing up to that paper that he
But
can.
I know what you mean. Looks like you got stuck. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Your,
yeah, yeah.
your screen that froze for a minute. But that's what I remember. I told you this, man, a few episodes back. I'm afraid he might be playing in the wrong defense. I'm afraid that. I'm thinking that maybe somebody that's strictly has to play in a full three. But we'll see this season, you know, if he can translate that, into, so that he can be, the type of player that we need him to be on the other side. But we'll see, this season, man, because, maybe he was overwhelmed by the whole thing, being in a different defense, having, different responsibilities and stuff like that. Okay, I'm going to give him that. Okay. Even though you had a player like Cam Jordan, who's much older than you, and he went out there and got double digit sacks. And he had less opportunity than you because you was a starter and you got more time on the field than what he did. Cam was coming in on the rotation.
Yep.
See? So like, we're gonna see, if he was overwhelmed by everything or whatever, we'll find out, unless, if we don't, did somebody gonna mess around and take his position. Somebody, they're gonna put somebody else in there. You understand? They might put this cat in there who we just got from the Raiders. Then they have the little cat, the little undrafted free agent, the dude and shit, old JJ Watt looking, kind of like white dude. You know what I'm saying? Head Elman, I think his name. You know,
Yeah.
so man, it's like you better shit or get your ass up off the pot.
Yep.
It's one of those type of things right now for him. And I'm pulling for him, bro. I don't want to see, I'm not sitting here, and then too, right? Fidel Diggs is back too, so you gotta make it do what it do, bro. I much rather see him because he's more of a seasoned veteran. He's more of a, he's been around here, the longest and all that kind of stuff. So I am pulling for him, but he gotta produce. If not, one of those dudes over there, y'all gotta go get his job, bro. Get his job and eat.
Facts. It's facts. So that's I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it at that on defense. It's other names that we can address, but we got more that'll come on more content. Leading up to training camp.
Mhm.
Offensively, basically with Cesar Ruiz. I mean, that's really um, that
Mhm.
was Caesar. So you got any final thoughts? That pretty much wrap up everything.
Look, man, just look, um, I'm just gonna mention since it's at the end of the show, I'm just gonna mention. I hope that about time that we do our next podcast, that this whole soap opera that they got going on with Camaro will be resolved. We just got resolution on, Cam Jordan. Okay, Cam Jordan coming back. All right, signed his contract. We saw that and all that. But the only lingering question that remains, right now is the status of Elvin Kamara. And I think what's today? Is it today or tomorrow where they got mandatory um camp for the veterans?
I thought today. I
I
thought.
think it starts today or it starts tomorrow. I know it starts sometime soon, bro. You know, and that's when they have to come in now because it's mandatory. So I hope that they've been having a resolution. What I'm hearing now is that I think Kamara would count $10.5 million on the salary cap if he played this season. And I think what they're trying to do is do something to lower his cap hit or something of that nature, you know. which I thought that's what they did when they did that little. They did some crazy stuff to his contract in the off season. But we're gonna see how that go, bro. I'm just hoping that they clear all that up. That's frustrating. The fans. It could be possibly frustrating him as well. And I'm thinking, not thinking, but I'm seeing that it's frustrating Saints media too now. They getting disturbed by the whole thing too. You know, I mean, if you don't want him to play, say you don't want him to play, then let the fans and stuff prepare themselves for all that and this, that, and the third. But stop finagling around and let us have a solution to this. And that's all I really have to say about that, bro.
Facts.
Yeah, we got to be out of here now. We can't even really take no calls.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Who that nation? Phone line. We're gonna definitely have the phone lines open. Going forward tonight. Just ran out of time to do so, but just appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow the page, and just like Uptown, he basically said it all. I mean, that's really the elephant in the room is that situation. Hopefully they gotta have a resolution before training camp. Ain't no use of coming into training camp and you still answering that question. So you might as well really by the end of this week, might as well just go ahead and get it out the way so people can start preparing for training camp, getting their heads, locked in and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's neither here nor there. We'll just see what happens with that. But as far as the show go, we will find some topics to come on here and talk about. And I'm gonna be honest, I know it's just people's opinions and stuff like that, but we will during this break. Uh, like I will be taking some stuff from like ESPN ranking or this commentators ranking, and just we'll just have a discussion and just give our thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
Just something that just interact and just talk Saints football and just give our thoughts and opinions on things that's out there in the media. But who that nation, man, appreciate you guys for tuning in once again. You guys like, subscribe, follow the page, and be on the lookout for our next show in the upcoming week or so. This the WDN Chatline Podcast, and we out. Who that?
Who that, baby? For life.